Okay, the button has been pushed. It says we are
I'm ready if
live.
you are.
So, welcome to the Almost Perfect podcast celebration of fuck ups, failures, and falling flat on your face. This is a podcast that believes you can learn from experience, but that experience
Let's
doesn't have to be
go.
your own. Hi, I'm Bob Perfect. I'm a functional fuck up. Let's learn from somebody else's mistakes. Today we're learning from Neil Green. Hey Neil, how you doing? Can you just pause there? Can you hear me? Everything good?
Yeah. Everything's good. Just excuse the barking dogs on my side.
Those barking dogs. You're living that suburban life now. After watching your show, like I fully got like that's it. You're this fish out of water in suburban life and trying to deal with all of it. I think
Yeah.
I'm getting a little too into Last Boss straight off the bat, but like I really first off, congratulations, bro. Like
Thank you
not
so
just
much.
on getting like a special filmed and getting it on Showmax and all of that, but the special
Yeah.
itself, dude, is fucking good. Like, and I'm not just saying that because you're my friend. I'm not just saying that because we're speaking publicly and stuff.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I was impressed, man. The structure, the subtleties, the writing, the whole layout. When I saw it was an hour and a half, I was like, yo, that's bold. And then when I watched the whole show, like everything fits together, everything comes together quite nicely, and I was just like genuinely proud of you, man. Like I think you did a fantastic job. So congratulations on not just getting a special, but a good one.
Thank you so much. See, it's such a weird thing because I'm trying to phrase this in a way that doesn't make me sound like absolutely full of myself, right? But the truth
But
is,
you know
like,
it's good.
yeah, no, but like I set out to do that. I set out to make a show that would be not for my, like, I wanted to make my Delirious. I wanted to make my like first. I wanted to make my Bring the Pain. I wanted to make my first show that people would always be able to go back to and go, yo, that was really the essence of him. Because you you and I had a conversation.
We've had a
How long
few.
ago was that now? Yeah. But I was
On
episode
the
3.
podcast.
I was
Yeah, that was like a
episode
year
3
and a
of the
half
almost.
ago.
It was like a year and a half ago. And in that conversation, I told you, like, I wouldn't know how to manage like doing a one-man show because I'm so nervous already now of
Yeah.
like doing or saying something that's gonna upset like my greater audience.
Yeah,
And
you have to balance that a little bit when it comes to. I'm actually just going to get myself some lighting here, but
sure.
yeah, you have to balance that now because your responsibilities are different. The kind of comedian you are now is a different comedian to even who you were 2 years ago because you're now on radio. You're now on one of the biggest radio stations in the
Yes.
country. You're now representing more than just yourself. Like
Yes.
it's a completely different situation. So with this special, do you feel like it's still the old you, or it's kind of like you in the middle now? You're like straddling that line of responsibility and irresponsibility almost.
Now it was a situation of you and I had the discussion that when I was doing this show Lost Boss that time, that I was trying to do a show that I was doing for myself and for fans and for potential fans. Like I was doing it for like old school comedy vibes, for like comedy, you know?
Yeah.
And I did that. The special is fully that. Like if you go watch the special, yes, I don't deal with any like especially heavy themes. There's no point
I mean,
where I'm
some are.
particularly controversial. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like I really went for it. Like I didn't leave something out because it might offend someone. Like I left everything in the original way that I did it, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it.
You should be, man. And like I've seen this material develop over the last, some of it for a long time and some of it for like the last year or two. And watching it all come together, like in that way, was really cool because, we only ever see each other doing 5, 10, 20 minutes at a time. And you're trying
Sure.
stuff out, you're getting a little bit here and you're getting a little bit there. What was the whole process like of putting the show together?
Oh, right. Let me tell you something. This this show, Lost Boss, incorporated elements of my first show as well because I'd never really recorded my first show, and I've got shows after that, and I haven't touched that material, right? So I
If
haven't
people
touched any
want to know the story for that, they can listen to the old Almost Perfect.
the old, yeah, episode 3, yes.
Yeah.
But like, so for this show, it was the weirdest thing because I said, right, I just wrote down what it is that I'm going to do and crossed some things out, added some things in, like I played around with it. But when I actually got out on stage, it was still like I was doing most of it just from my head.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like my
it's been
show.
there for so long.
It's been there for so long. You get what I'm saying? I've done the show how many times now? So when I got out on stage and I was, yeah.
You haven't done the show that many times as an hour and a half, though.
No, like the hour and a half. The hour and a half was never supposed to be the time. I was aiming for 60 minutes. That was 60 minutes that I'd written 60 minutes worth of stuff. But while I was out there, I was just letting myself like experience the moment. And like the jokes themselves, I was telling long form version of existing jokes.
That's
like,
what I was
allowing.
Yes. Yeah. That was it. That's what I noticed. It's like it wasn't the club version of jokes. It wasn't the condensed. Here's the gist of what you need to know. Even the cup under the sink joke was different than you normally do it because you related it to yourself. So it was like, yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see stuff like that. You know, to see those choices that you were making as someone who knows, you know, your material a bit and has seen you work this stuff over a long time. That was the fun part, especially for me, was saying, oh, he's gone there with that, he's doing that, and then seeing callbacks later on, seeing how you're tying sets that I hadn't seen together, you know, like there was a lot of, so yeah, man, I'm sucking a dick a little bit here, but I did take some notes, and I do have some questions, and
yeah, sure.
I want to ask you the most important question. Like, I think this is something we all consider immensely before we do our first one-man show, and it's a big consideration. How did you decide what to wear?
As you can see by my outfit, you know, when I got there, I'm going to be honest with you. When I got there, the production team literally, that was our first conversation. When I got there, I walked in with my wife, and they were like, "Oh, you guys can get." Yeah.
We're gonna chat about that.
Oh, for sure. So we walked in together, and the production guy says, "Oh, like your wife can chill out, and then like we got a special section there at the back where you can get changed." And I was like, "Get changed? I'm wearing this." And like his face was literally like, "You wearing that?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's my clothes."
Up, man. Everyone wears a suit, and you come out there in a hoodie.
That's my clothes. That's what I feel comfortable with. Yes.
So there wasn't that much consideration there.
No, like none. I was just wearing my clothes, and I was. You see, let me be honest with you. I always want to feel comfortable. That's my thing. I'm always at my best when I can feel comfortable. You know what I don't understand? You know, like if like a corporate company or like somebody for a wedding booked, I don't know, I'm trying to think. Like if they booked
Jack Sparrow and expect him to come in a like suit, that would be a bit weird.
Why would you do that? Like, why would you book that and then tell him, oh, it's this kind of event? Let the man be comfortable. So like, and that's what I did. Like, I come out on stage and I perform in my regular clothes because that is when I feel the most like myself.
That's dope. It's something like that I shouldn't think about as much as I do, but I do because you see how different comedians present themselves. You see guys like John Mulaney always in the suits and that. You see Chris Rock, you know, like in a suit a lot of the time and like really nice suits and that. You see, you know, Eddie Murphy even doing it, like where he comes out in leather and it becomes an iconic thing. So I was just, like it's cool to see that your approach is just whatever I'm wearing. Because usually that's it. I go on stage with the clothes I was wearing that day. I go to the show from just, I was there. Like, what do you mean? Like, well, I must have changed now. So I feel kind of similarly. Your show, talks a lot about race, even though you're not really like the stereotypical racial comedian, although you also do play with stereotypes quite a lot. One of the jokes
sure.
I absolutely love, man, probably my favorite joke from the thing is the small black sweets and what we used to call them.
I knew you would like that.
Where it reminded me that might actually be the first time I heard that word. Like that might be my first context for the N word. Like before I ever heard it like in TV as a negative thing, before I even knew it was this like swear word, you know, this curse, this absolutely horrific word.
That it had power to it. It was just the name of a sweet.
It was the name of a sweet.
It was just the name of a sweet.
But then you find out the context of this, and it's just the most insane thing ever. It's just like, how the fuck did this ever happen? So yeah,
how did they okay it? Like only apartheid South Africa could have a sweet called that. Like no way. There was no one else brazen enough to try and pull that off in the world. Like that was incredible that we got away with that for so long.
Like I think they did exist for a little while after apartheid. There were black balls in, like, but that's still like no white guy wants black balls in their mouth, you know. That's cool.
I'm telling you,
post apartheid.
Yes.
But that's also the thing. Like they're called that, but then the connotations and oh man, like I feel like apartheid South Africa, post-apartheid South Africa, still have some of the weirdest. It has the weirdest context, man. It has honestly like some of the strangest dichotomies and experiences that a human being can go through, especially, you know, depending on your race and that. And you address a lot of that in your show. You come at it not just like from a colored perspective, from your perspective as a colored man. So I think that's quite different to the way a lot of other people often approach it. You know, a lot of people might try and be a bit more stereotypical with their jokes. It might be like, I'm a black comedian, I'm a colored comedian, I'm a white comedian. You know, we do these kinds of jokes and stuff like that. But I think by making them more personal, the way you do it, you almost speak for everyone a bit better. Like, have you picked that up at all? Is that something you're going for? Is that the vibe there?
That's it's very much done on purpose. Like there's a joke in my special, but you know what the thing is, even if you go back to episode 3, I spoke about this. I play with stereotypes in a way that I address them, but I'm not preaching to you. I'm not saying like I do.
You just like, bring it up. Like the cup under the sink thing. You're not making a judgment. You're just saying it.
I'm just telling you that. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, we walk around like no one knows this stuff. And it's like when I say it now, it's like everybody's like, you can't say that. I'm like, why can't I say that? Like that is a pretty common thing that goes on. Like, why are you all doing this then? Why are you all knowingly doing this if you all have such a problem with me talking about? And that's kind of what I play with. Like there's a joke inside it. It's a short joke. And it's about the notion that colored people stab other people.
Or like one of my favorite books as well, like or the way you're like, today's a day, I'm gonna have to be that old.
I'm gonna have to stab somebody.
And how you bring it up and like, that was one of those jokes where I was just like, this is clever. Like you've taken the most common premise, I think, in colored comedy in South Africa. Like it's the most said thing on stage about colored people. If you're in comedy, you know that. That's the one thing we always hear: colored people stab people. It sucks. And you know, it's one of those things that you and I have been like about, and you took it and you took it like, you know, in your own way. So
I played with it from the perspective of, okay, then I stab people. Like I'm just gonna do it now, and then let's see how it goes, you know. But like, yes, it's very much on purpose. Like those themes that seem like they come up like it's just conversational. No, this is stuff that I sit at home and I think about, and it doesn't sit well with me. And now I'm taking it to the stage, but I'm not bringing it to the stage. It's not a sermon. I'm not gonna ask you to change, like, because I'm not gonna ask you to leave here and think differently about it. I'd like you to. I'd like some hate mail about it. I honestly would. I'd love someone to be angry that I said that.
Yeah. Now that you're on more radars, it might be coming.
For sure. And that's what I worry about. That's what I worry about a lot, is that I chicken out a little bit, because I tell you we are chicken out, because at the end of the day, this thing I do need it to be palatable. But like, for example, we were talking earlier on about that the joke about the sweets. I can say, you can't say it, the name of the sweets. But like, I go on to say that like the people that made the sweets didn't have the courage to come back, but like the National Party came back and like they invented apartheid. Yeah, they didn't even try and change the name much. They were like, yo, way back. but like that goes on from there. That actually leads into another joke about the DA. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to get into that.
I assumed that was going to happen. Like, I assumed that's where you were going with it originally. But I also kind of I picked up, maybe you cut that a little bit because,
I pulled out. I'll be honest with you. I didn't want to go all the way into it. I pulled out of it because I am aware that there's some things, like I want to fix a lot of things, but I can't fix all the things. Like I'm okay with it. Yeah.
And the thing is, the opportunities you've already been given, well, not given, that you've earned. Like, it's such a shitty thing to actually ever say to people that they've been given opportunities. But like that you have earned, you know, over time, has put you in positions now where you are also almost a spokesman for, you know, the colored community. Do you feel that way? Or like, and what is that like?
That is exactly the situation. Not with comedy so much, but especially with radio now, right? Like people now like send me, like they keep me up to date on things that are going on in the greater colored community and specific colored communities, because they expect me to address it. Like,
because you are a guy now. You put yourself in that position as well, though, because you've used your position to talk about issues that are real to you.
Yes, but I'm also at a commercial radio station, and they don't really give me too much of a hard time about my content at all. And I always said that I love how much the building, it's a conservative space, it's a commercial space. There's money and there's companies and there's people that own those companies. But for the most part, they don't care. like they allow me to like be as free as I want as a personality. But also I have to be responsible.
I've been surprised that, you know, like those are conversations that are being had now. And I appreciate that. It's like that you can have these conversations on radio now, that these are voices that, like you say in the show, you know, there isn't the colored newspaper. Like, you bring up
there's no media channel. There's no media channel at all. There's no dedicated media channel at all for colored people. And I've made a whole joke about
it. So you are that channel now.
Yeah, but it's not a joke. And it's like, I shouldn't be the channel. Like, I'm going to be real with you. I know I've become that thing. But if I had to pick someone, it definitely wouldn't be me. Like, dog. And that's the weird part about it, is that I never set out to be this person, but somehow I am this person. And I have to be realistic about it. I'm the person.
You say you didn't set out to do it, and like I think a part of you has always wanted it, but also shirked from it. Like just from my like decade of knowing you, like I kind of know your internal struggle a little bit, you know, like the wanting to be real and the wanting to actually help people and be in, you know, be in better positions in the media and stuff, so that you can bring up these issues and stuff. But then at the same time, you don't want to sell out, like, but you also want to make money. And it's like, yeah man, like I kind of get the vibe that you're going through at the moment, but I also have no idea what that responsibility is actually like. And do you think it's...
Let me tell you what it feels like.
Okay.
Let me tell you what's the problem with it. My favorite TV show in the history of TV is Community, right? I love Community. Yeah. And there's a scene in Community where Starburns says something, where they try to give him some, they try and nominate him for something, and he's like, you know what? I've actually had to think about it, and I don't need this responsibility because I feel like it'll shed too much light on me, and then people will become aware of some of my other activities. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, let me give you an example. The residents of Glenwood and the Ampilo area, I did something wrong, right? And they found out that I was the guy that did it.
I know the story.
You know the story, right? So they started sending.
I saw it on social media.
They went crazy on social media, right? They shared their thing thousands of times. They were sending emails to the East Coast Radio, like top brass, like, we need to fire this. And all I did was park a bitch shit outside the child's school. That's all I did.
Yeah.
I parked a bitch shit outside. And once they found out that it was me that did it, once, like, like they started going so hard, right? Like they wanted me to like get fired from East Coast Radio and all that. And like throughout that whole funeral, right? All I could think was, guys, you'll jump a bit early. Like, if you really wanted to find something to fire me about, I've done worse stuff than this today. Like, I've done way worse things than that.
Wait, you were probably hanging out with me earlier in the day, so that's definitely true.
You get what I'm saying? I'm like, guys, like if like.
Okay, sorry. Like, yeah, you were making a point there.
No, so my point is that, like, I am not a clean cut person. I am not living some life that is above scrutiny, and that's what I don't like about being made into like a figurehead and a role model. Is that often people like build these people up to find out, oh, this person did this, and then it's a whole thing of like breaking him down. It's like, guys, I don't even need to do that. My life is transparent, and I am not anybody's, like, I should not be a moral yardstick for anyone. And that's the part that I would like to come.
Yeah, I mean, who knows when those photos of you with that afro are going to come out again.
You know what I'm saying?
He canceled a lot of shit, man. Although one thing, I've got a little bone to pick with you. What's your problem with Glenwood Bakery, bro?
Listen, my man.
You put that on a special. You put them on blast with a special, and I have to call you out here because you have bought me courgette on recommendation at the KZNSA. So you can't be talking about no pretentious shit from fucking Glenwood Bakery when you're recommending me courgette.
Were they not delicious? Were the courgettes not delicious?
They were fucking delicious. I still don't know what's in the courgette, but it was delicious.
But that's my issue. That's Glenwood Bakery story. I don't feel bad telling that story forever, for the rest of time, because that is almost exactly how it played out. Like, it played out exactly how I told that story. Like, I didn't have to add much embellishment.
Any biases there?
Oh, for sure. But like, and that was the whole point of it. I was not mentally prepared. Like, that space is not designed for me. Like, when they set out and they said, right, this is who we're trying to attract, it's not me. And I'm okay with that. I know that. But like, that happens to me a lot where you see, that's what people don't understand. As a person of color, we oftentimes find ourselves in situations where we have to kind of like pretend our way through this thing. Like, I've never been here. Like, I don't know what this thing is, but I don't ever want to seem like I don't.
That's kind of a common theme in the show, though. Like, you do that a few different times. It's like, that's why I brought up the fish out of water thing a bit earlier. It's like kind of like the colored guy from, like a low class background moving into suburbia and now having to adjust to that was the overarching thing to it, I think.
Because that's my life. That's literally my life. Like, and that's what I'm saying. When I make jokes about the school that my children are going to, I'm saying that they're going to a fancy school now. Like, that's for real. Like, I'm experiencing things in this school that I've never experienced in my life. Like, it's so far away from like how I went to school that like I have to figure this thing out like as I go along as a parent. And when I say, like, when I start that joke off by saying that I've got no business like that side of the world, it's the truth. Like, why would I ever be there? I would never be there unless I was in the situation that I'm in now. Yes.
Yeah. Well, to pick your daughter up and to come pick me up for lunch, like that's now that I've moved up from Umbilo. So okay, I'm gonna look at my notes again here. And be real professional. Your wife takes a lot of jabs. She was in the audience there. Personally, Paige hates it when I talk about my girlfriend. Like, unless it's the most positive shit ever, it's just like, even if it's not about her, she kind of hates like that I do that. So how do you navigate that? Because your wife takes a lot of hits on the show.
Well, you see, and that's the thing about it, is that again, it's all set up as like a caricature. It's set up as like there's lots of spice added in. The essence of the actual joke is legitimately true though, and then you just add the hyperbole on it. You get what I'm saying?
And so, she doesn't mind that?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes, for sure. Yeah, we have discussions about stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
Like, we actually haven't chatted about that, like about the material, about our partners thing, and it's not something I've actually chatted to a lot of people about, but you do it a lot. So those are conversations that actually have. So how do you decide what to say on stage on a thing that's being filmed? Like, are there things you're definitely not, like jokes you're definitely not going to tell, or what's the situation there?
For sure, there's definitely some things that you can't joke about. But if you're gonna make your comedy be personal and you're gonna base a lot of it on personal experience, I think you almost have a responsibility to be honest about the parts that's not ideal. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. Because that makes it more relatable to other people going through the same things. Like, other people have gone through similar situations. And so it is an honest thing. It is a relatable thing because of that.
And you know what the thing about it is? It's not that I do relationship jokes from the perspective of being a little bit disgruntled. You know what it is? Too much of what we see about relationships from celebrities and like television media and stuff, too much of it is projected as idyllic.
Yeah.
Yes, in general, relationships, like,
except if you're Chris Rock.
You get what I'm saying? And like let me tell you something. I think it's terrible to go out there and like actually give actual dirty laundry examples. Like, that's terrible. I hate seeing it like on social media and stuff. Like, I hate it when I see people doing stuff like that. There's things about your life that the rest of us don't need to know about at all. You get what I'm saying? But
and it's other people haven't necessarily consented to having those stories told. And
yes, but the other side of that is I hate seeing two famous people holding hands and people commenting there, "Oh, couple goals." Like they're holding hands, bro.
Okay, we can talk about that because I hate that, dude. Like, regular shit, like people like talk about just regular shit you do as a couple, and like relationship goals, and you're like, what the fuck? This is, but I do this. I do this for my girlfriend and don't put it on the internet. Or you're telling me our basic ass relationship is your goal in life? Because that's fucking sad.
No, but that's the thing. Like, no one wants to talk about like the run up to that and what happens in general around that. And also, stand-up comedy historically has been unnecessarily mean from the perspective of like the male side of relationships, right?
Exactly. And you're more of a buffoon type in like your jokes. You're often more the pilot, like, the butt of the joke. Your wife is correct.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like it's important. And it's like that's my stance in it. Is that the truth is, I know that in my relationship, a lot of what's wrong is from my side. So if I'm telling a relationship joke, I'm telling it from the perspective of my misunderstanding of the situation, or my tactlessness in the situation, or the fact that I'm deficient romantically, or stuff like. You get what I'm saying? Because that's true.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the strengths. It doesn't come across as like woman hating, or like my wife the idiot, or my wife doesn't let me do this, or anything like that. It's like she often comes across right. Like,
yeah, because she is. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, baby takes it. Everyone takes it. Oh shit! Yeah, one of the cool things is also everyone in comedy kind of talks about their name. They give jokes about their name and their appearance and that. And you did one, like, I've heard you talk about it before, but how long has that one been on your set for? Is it newish, or like that's not from the beginning? Because everyone does their name joke in the beginning of comedy. Like my name. I mean, I didn't do it, but like. You know what I mean? Like, my name's so-and-so, and I look like this, and my name means this. But you actually dive into your name and make it a much bigger thing.
Yes. That is, you see, even like that joke, like, are you talking about the one about my surname? And like, yes, there's a whole that joke that's the end result of a joke that I started from long ago about how we don't want to address the fact that every single colored person is in some way representative of Van Riebeck and them's misdeeds. Like, for there to be so many of us, like as a society, I don't think we acknowledge enough that for there to be this many colored people, right, in a time as a result of like, how long was it illegal for there to be mixed relationships? That was a long time. Like hundreds of years, probably.
I can't remember everything. I remember like the last 100 years of history, because that's really what we're taught in school. So,
but that's kind of my point. But that's kind of my point. No one wants to address the fact that for the longest time it was actually illegal for there to be mixed race relationships, and for there to be so many colored people now. Like, there's so many. That shows. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of that joke started off initially about, but it was a bit mean-spirited. It was about Jan van Riebeck, and like, I didn't like the tone of it. So over the years, it mellowed out to the one where we're talking about the farm. So I'm still keeping it. Yeah, so I'm keeping it in the same where it comes from, but like I've softened it down like a lot from what the original beginning was.
I mean, okay, I don't know what originally was, and like you say, you softened it down, but I think it still brings up a very real thing. Just the surname thing, like, it does like explain so much about South Africa, about history, about where we're at, and like there were a few different things that you said in that, and that's what I said. Like in the beginning, when like we started this chat, I said like one of the things I love about the show is the subtleties, the layers. Like there's. You intentionally, like, and that's the thing, like, I'm giving away a lot because I know you here, but like, I know that you intentionally see these things that like are actually big
problematic, because that's the basis of that joke. Like we talk about, like now a lot of people are doing these ancestry.com things, and a lot of people, I've seen people do projects where they like get into their family tree and they talk about their DNA, and it's like, when you do that, there's a population of 10% of this country that cannot trace their genealogy at all past their grandparents, because there's a level of denial, skullduggery, and wrongdoing that took place for me to be here. And that's it. More than anyone, like, we are objects, because, and that's like that joke at a surface level. It's just very funny, of saying that eventually somebody decided to give us surnames. They decided to give us an identity. So on a surface level, that's what that joke is saying. Oh, finally somebody decided to be decent and at least give us an identity to carry forward. But the truth is that surname actually means nothing, because the actual person whose surname I should have denied me in the beginning. Exactly. Denied my ancestors in the beginning. So that's what, like, the joke is.
Like, you should be a Van Riebeck or an ancestor. Like, exactly, but instead, it's some deep shit. Okay, what else do I want to ask you about here? The surname. Oh, the surname, joke level, introspection. While speaking broadly, yeah. Okay, I think we're kind of there, dude. I think we've reached the end of my list of topics here. We do have some viewers at the moment. If any of you guys want to ask some questions in the comments, it should come up here, and we can answer them. Alternatively, what about this? Where do you see yourself going with the show now? Do you think, everyone kind of hopes in their heart that it's going to be this breakout thing that makes them famous, right?
Yes.
But you want to temper yourself. Where you're at with that?
I'm not tempering myself. I'm going to be very honest with you and say that if there was some way that I could get 100,000 people to sit down and watch that show, like the show would be massive. Like the show itself is good enough to stand with anything. You're making me sound so full of myself. But like I love
don't want to say what I said to Paige earlier, but I'm going to tell you now.
Yeah.
Like, so this wasn't a private conversation. Like this was, and she knows I said this, she can verify it. But watching your show reminded me of Marc Maron's new show, just in terms of structure, technicality, like a lot of stuff. Like those were the things those were the feelings I was getting, like whilst watching it. I was just like, there is some craftsmanship here, like that. Like I really, really appreciate it.
I'm very proud of what I managed to do. Like I was on the stage at night, and it's like, you know me. People that don't know me that might be watching this might get the wrong idea, but the truth is, I am always very honest with myself about how a performance has gone. Always. I'll be the first person that when somebody comes to me and says good show, I'll be like, it wasn't really. like that wasn't great. And I'll come home and I'll tell my wife, I was like, chill, like, how was the show? And I'll be like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it did not go well. Like when it didn't go well, I'll be the first person to tell you.
But then there's comments online, busy saying, great show, got to see Neil Green tonight. And you're just like, that sucked.
That was a bad version of me. That was not good comedy in general. When I was doing that show, I'm not talking about when it was over. I'm not talking about when I watched it back. Like while I was doing that show, like when I was getting towards the end, when they flashed me to say that it was 70 minutes, and I was still like in my groove, I could still feel I hadn't got to the end of what I wanted to do. I was like, this is great. Like this is really great. This is going fantastically. And if there was
the one shot machine gun as well, hey?
Big one?
It was a one-shotter, right? Like you only
one shot, bro. Yeah, literally. We just set it up and we let it go. And what happened happened.
That is very risky. So yeah, but I could also, I know you, and I could see that. Like I could see where you hit your stride even, and started to really get into it and started to
Yes.
And then
in the beginning, I was a bit.
In the beginning you were a little one. But you also knew you had it, but it was a taking it in, getting yourself set, and then just heading into it. So yeah, you got big hopes for this.
Massive hopes, depending on how far it can go, and that's the part I have to be real about. In order for something to get recognition and for something to be a platform for me to move forward, basic level, people need to see it. So that's where I am right now. Like I'm just like got my fingers crossed and doing the little promotions where I can. But like I need people to see the show. The show's good. It's good.
Yeah. Are you going to use it to apply for like festivals and stuff overseas when we're ever allowed to do that again?
See, I never even thought about that, bro. Like I've always like
Okay, actually, let's quickly discuss that. That's one thing I wanted to chat to you about. Is one thing I know about you is whilst you know your abilities, you also, because of the way things have gone, might have been, similarly to me, quite negative at times about your comedy career, about whether or not you could make it, whether or not you'd even get to this point. So how do you feel now that you're here?
Oh, bro, let me be honest with you. Until the show came out on Friday, right? I think from Tuesday up until Friday, I wasn't answering my phone. Like I was like, bro, I was so in myself because like I just wanted the show to come out. I do this thing where I always feel like something's gonna go wrong at the last minute. You know?
Yeah, I'm trying to be with this podcast tonight. It's something good.
That's me, bro. So I'm like, oh man, something's gonna go wrong. And like, it's like I just want the thing to come out. So that's me. Like, I just move from moment to moment, Bob. I'll be honest with you. Like when you saying, am I gonna try and take this thing internationally? I haven't even got there yet. Like in my mind, like I work on a thing and then I just try and get from this thing to the next thing. So right now, I want people to see the show. And that's the thing. Like I've got another 2 specials that I'm just sitting on. Like if they phone me and Showmax goes, yo, there's been a great response to the show. When can we do another one? I'll be like, how's Friday? Like because I've been doing comedy for 13 years in July. 13 years. And for a long time in there, like I've been doing so much work, bro. I'm like, I'll put it to you like this. I'm like a rapper that has been rapping. I'm youngster CPT. The man has 35 mixtapes that he did. Like this man has got a massive body of work. So when the time comes and something goes right for you and they say, right, let's go, he's prepared. like he's been doing what he's doing for so long that when I say let's go, he's prepared for wherever we need to take this to. And that's
you
me,
feel
bro.
like I'm situation.
Yes, I'm hoping something catches fire. I don't know if we could, you know what? I don't know if we could ever have a Daywalker again. Like Daywalker captured people's attention the way it did for 2 reasons.
What it is, like
yeah.
Daywalker crosses a lot of yours crosses over, I think, into a lot of different experiences, but also, yeah, you and Trevor are different people in a lot of different ways, you know.
My material's not palatable to the masses in the way that Daywalker is. Daywalker is accessible and it's inoffensive.
Thank you for saying it so that I don't have to.
Oh, absolutely. Like he's much more presentable and like there's nothing. You can show it. You can watch it with your granny and you can watch it with your children and you can call the neighbors and it's all good. I don't.
But
have
at the
that.
same time, the show, like a lot of people can put it on and relate to it.
Oh, for sure. So that's
like not even relate to it necessarily, but like understand where you're coming from or recognize the situations, like or see situations from a different perspective now.
Hopefully, that's literally what I set out to do. But so that's what I'm saying. I know I can't blow up in a global way, like because I've included my own impediments in the type of material that I've done and how I present myself and everything. I'm cool with that. But yeah, there's a version of that level of success that I'd love to see.
Cool. Well, I think you're on your way, man. Like I'm gonna ride your coattails a little bit. I'm gonna hopefully, like I keep telling people I'm gonna write books about them, but everyone I tell like that I'm gonna write a book about can write a book about themselves. So I'm gonna have to find a new way to.
Now I would never be able to write a book about myself. Like I just don't have the discipline.
That's a lie, dude. Because look at what you've done so far. So once again,
Bob,
I'm gonna end.
Let me tell you something. I wrote an entire play. I wrote it out from beginning to end. I wrote an entire play out, I wrote in proper play structure and everything. And that was like about 6 years ago, and I've done nothing with it because like I feel inspiration and I feel inspired and then I act on it. But there comes a point where I don't know, man.
But also, isn't there value to just doing things because you feel like you can do them? You don't like. So I'm currently working on various different scripts for various different things, and I don't know if I'm ever going to show anyone else some of this stuff. But down the line, it's still going to be valuable just to have done it. Like that's still putting in the work.
Yes, like I'm always a lot of what I do well and a lot of my achievements thus far are incidental almost to me just being me. like you get what I'm saying? It's like it's not that I'm unambitious. It's just that if you told me, yo, Neil, let's sit down and come up with 45 minutes of content for something, I wouldn't be good at it. But if you phone me and just started having a conversation with me about, I could get to 45 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, no issues. Like, none at all. Because it's there. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, like I was going to say, I want to end this conversation the way I started it. Once again, brother, congratulations, man. Like, you fucking deserve it. And I'm incredibly proud of you, not just for achieving what you've achieved, but for putting out a genuinely fantastic special. So, congratulations, man. Cool.
Thank you so much, Xavier. And when we're bringing Live from the Winston needs like a new home, it needs a new situation. Like, I feel like we're the OGs of this thing, bro. Like, we birthed this. Yeah.
Well, somebody was there just before us, but yeah, man, it's been interesting seeing people jump on the podcast wagon, jumping on the external content thing now that they have to. Like, whereas we've done it for a while. I was gonna say this could be a fun format for strongly disagree strongly. Like, if you ever want to do that, we could do like a little debate show on YouTube. We just need to find a time on your schedule.
I'm down.
Yeah, I know you're always down.
That's what I'm saying. You literally just give me a time. No, dog. I say like anything pop culture, movies, music, like, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. You know, like if I have to say, I'm gonna sit down and do like my radio content for the week, like I have to tell myself, like I have to be disciplined in it, right? And I sit there and I come up with the concepts and I work around it. But then later that same evening, when I feel pushed after a day of work, I can sit on Reddit and argue with the guy about where Steins ranks in M. Night Shyamalan thing for 6 hours. Like the whole house is sleeping. I'm up there furiously typing.
Cool. Well, maybe people will get to see us do something similar to this but different really soon, because who knows when we're actually going to get to see each other and hang out again. So this was really fun, man. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much for having me on, Brian. Thanks for your kind words.
Yeah. Where can people find you, bro?
Neil Green 82 on Instagram and on Twitter, and Neil Green on Facebook.
Cool. I'll add links and stuff.
Gaming. Listen, what about all that there? Deceitful Archer, Xbox, PlayStation, Wii. Let's get it. I'm waiting.
Cool. I'm gonna jam some Xbox against you soon. Anyway, you can find me. I am Bobness Monster on Twitter, Almost Perfect Bob on Instagram, and you can find this everywhere on the Almost Perfect podcast. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's been lovely. And that was a very terrible way to end this. So, hey, fuck it.
Like